This is what happens after literally pretty much no time in the sun. I've been out in the sun for a total of about 4 hours. I'm already sunburnt. Oh, it's a nightmare. Anyway, enough of me being unable to handle any sort of sunshine. On to the video. This one is going to be about a team that is getting relegated from the National League. Off the pitch for the last few months, it's been a bit of turmoil. It's Chester FC. So the original club, Chester City, went bankrupt back in 2010 and had to be reformed. They're reformed as a fan-owned club known as Chester FC. So the fans have a 100% shareholding in the club, and that is known as City Fans United. They're known as the group that owns the club, but it is essentially the fan-owned nature of the club, and that's just what it's called. So the club began in the 8th tier. They got promoted out of that in their first season into the 7th tier, same in that season, straight up to the 6th, and then again straight up to the 5th tier. So 3 promotions in 3 years under Neil Young. He did great work getting the club up 3 times from the 8th tier to the 5th tier, and that is where they've been for a good few years now. Back at the start of this season, they were getting quite ambitious. Sam Hughes left and went to Leicester. That got them around about £150,000 on a transfer fee, so that was massive for the club. That's what they've essentially used to then increase the budget for this season, and they put a lot of players on big 2-year contracts, the likes of Ross Hannah, Kingsley James, John McComb. But really, the club had massively overspent at the start of the season. The season's budget was set to £450,000, but as the season progressed, they started to struggle a bit financially. Then it really got to a head back in January, where the new manager, Marcus Bignot, was told that he had to get rid of a number of his players, and the club needed a total of £50,000 within the next month just to survive. It was at this point that the club stated that they cost 85 to 90 grand to run each month, and that they were falling short of this amount. The money set aside at the start of the season by City Fans United, this has all been spent. Within the next few weeks, a number of key players moved on. A lot of these players on big high-earning 2-year contracts moved on. John McComb went to Harrogate, Paul Turnbull went to Stockport, Ross Hannah went to Southport, Kingsley James went to Barrow, and this essentially tore apart the squad. A club that was already in a relegation battle with a big nucleus of their squad gone, it's going to become even harder. Then it got to the mid-February sort of time, and this is when it became quite critical. They did get a good amount of money in from the tribunal of James Allaby. He'd left to join Tranmere Rovers in the previous summer. They got £22,500 for him. Also in mid-February there was a match organised which involved Colin Murray, who is a broadcaster, well-known face really on British football TV, and he's a Chester fan. He got involved, also got the likes of Michael Owen involved, Danny Higginbottom, Trevor Sinclair, and a few other former professional footballers that were quite high profile, and yeah, that earned a total of £25,000 for the club. Additionally, around this time, over 1,000 people attended a youth team match. That earned the club 13 grand. There was also some charity walks going on. Different things helped by the fans, and it raised a massive amount of money and kept the club alive. It's fantastic to see, and that's the real benefit of a fan-owned club. When it comes to crisis situations like this, they have the fans, because they know it's fan-owned, the club fans all get together and they make the club stay alive essentially, and it's brilliant to see that happen. But really, after that point, things didn't really get that much better. The club wasn't in immediate danger of going under, but it's still not great at the club. Manager Marcus Bignot, who was appointed back in September, he and the fans have complained about a lack of transparency from right at the top of the club, and there's been a lot of key people at the top also leaving the club amidst all this happening basically, and it's caused a lot of turmoil at the club. A total of 2 chairmen, 4 directors, 1 CEO, and a load of players have all left in the space of a couple of months. Neil Young, the man who's had so much success with Chester in their early days, he was brought back into the club to be in an advisory role. He then left that role very shortly after, in some strange circumstances, not really too sure what went on there. And despite the best efforts of Marcus Bignot and his players, the fans really did get behind Marcus Bignot. They did really like him, but unfortunately the club did get relegated down to the National League North on April the 7th after a defeat to bitter rivals Tranmere Rovers. 2-0 they lost. Bignot was told that he was going to be leaving the club at the end of the season at this point, but a few weeks later, after watching a youth team match, Bignot was sacked in the car park after this match. Now the club has apologised for the manner of the sacking of Marcus Bignot, but this situation should not really have occurred in the first place, and going into next season they've had a lot of applicants. They advertise on their website and on their social media for applicants. They've apparently had 82 applicants so far at the point of making this video, so it's a very popular job despite the instability potentially going on at the club. There's a lot of people that want to take charge. Obviously a really good fan base, a really good sized club in the National League North. It's a very popular club to for people to come and want to take over. It's just a case of getting the right man in. The likes of Billy Heath has been mentioned, I've seen, and yeah, he's a man who's obviously got a lot of experience taking clubs up. He got North Ferriby promoted out the National League North, Halifax promoted out the National League North, so I think he could potentially be a very good appointment. The club have stated the budget next season will be around £250,000, which is a big decrease on this season where it was £450,000. But really, if it's going to help the club survive, then that's what needs to happen. But through all of this, the fans are demanding answers. What has happened to the money that they have raised to help keep the club alive? Why has the club been put into this situation in the first place? There's not been a huge amount of news coming out of the club. Even manager Marcus Bignett, as I did state, he's been stating about the fact that there's not a lot of transparency at the club, and there's stuff that even he doesn't know that's going on at the top. So it's a bit worrying, and I think this sort of thing does need to change, especially for a fan-owned club. Transparency needs to really be key. Is this a case of a club being taken as far as they can be through fan ownership? There's been a lot of examples of fan ownership over the years. Very few of them have got beyond the National League level. The only one really that I can see is AFC Wimbledon that have got beyond that National League level and got into the Football League. There's been a lot that have sort of halted at the National League level, and is it a case of that is as far as majority of fan-owned models can take a club, and do they need to look at getting an external investor in? Now, there has been interest from an investor external to the club that has actually got links into the city of Chester, apparently very, very rich, very wealthy, and he is interested in investing in Chester. Now, will they have to surrender that 100% ownership of the club to essentially keep the club alive and help progress, or do they want to stick to that fan-owned model because not being fan-owned before was what could have sent the club into having to reform essentially? Or do they take the risk, get this investor in, and hope that it has a positive impact and that he is one of the good guys? We currently don't know who he is remaining anonymous at the moment, but could this lead to a brighter future? If you are a Chester fan, let me know your thoughts on this whole situation in the comment section down below. Or if you're just a general football fan, what do you think as an outsider looking into this situation? But regardless, I do hope that the club can sort its issues out and get onto the straight and narrow, get forward, progress, and give the National League North a good go next year. But obviously the most important thing is that the club is financially stable, and that if it takes them a few years to rebuild in the National League North, but it means that they're stronger long term, then that's essentially the best solution for everyone. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, remember to let me know in the comment section down below and hit that like button. Can we get 300 likes on this video? If you're new around here as well, click that subscribe button. We are nearly at 5,000 subscribers now. We're so close. Been trying to get there before the end of the season. Can we get there? I really hope so. Incredible support in the last few months, as I've been saying. It really is just blowing me away. Incredible support, and I thank you all so much for that. And I hope to see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.